Sec. Hello and good morning, good afternoon, and in some places, good evening. Welcome to this week's new episode of X Vlog Live. I'm your host, Mr. BoomStick XL. Today, folks, we have some breaking news. Death Stranding releasing on the Xbox Series X and S with enhancements. The PlayStation 5 Pro is out, and well, it doesn't seem anyone really cares because it is not really making the news rounds, if you will, and that's because of the price. We are going to be covering both of those topics here today. As you can see, for right now, I am by myself. C Money will be here momentarily. When he gets here, we will get into it. Just a small piece of, I guess, house cleaning, if you will. First of all, yesterday I did an untraditional unboxing for the Xbox Series X and S, well, the X wrap for the Call of Duty Black Ops 6 skin. And I also had both controllers on display, both the regular edition, which you can get at the Xbox Design Labs, or you can get the $169.99 version of the Elite with the skin of Call of Duty Black Ops. Both are different, and I bought both of them with my own money. I didn't get anything from Xbox, and that's fine. I did the 8 minute and 1 second review, or the unboxing, if you will. I did it only in 2 takes. The first take actually was perfect, except my mic died and I didn't know it. So when I went to go back and look at the footage, I'm like, oh no, don't tell me the sound was gone. So I had to redo it. And there is a little bit of an Easter egg boo-boo in there, because I talk about how the controllers are heavy when I really just meant the actual console. But I left it as is because it's an unboxing. So yeah, I couldn't cut it out. But needless to say, it was fun to do. I'm doing another one today. I have an unboxing where I have the Xbox Series X magnetic smart wrap from Extreme Consoles. I'm not going to tell you what it is. I'm saving that for, of course, the video that I'm going to do. Actually, I'm doing two. I'm showing off a couple of controllers and two of Extreme Consoles magnetic smart wraps. And I got to tell you, man, the quality is top tier, but we'll get into that when I do the video. And again, obviously, thanks so much for popping in. And hey, C Money, brother, you happen to arrive at the nick of time because we have a lot of very big topics to get into. How you feeling, kind sir? Welcome.
Feeling good. I mean, any day you wake up to this type of news, it's always good. It's always
Puts a big
good. It's
smile on
always
your face.
fun.
Doesn't it kind of makes you feel loose
It-
and loosey goosey, and
it's
you want to kiss the world, right?
this is the thing. This is the thing. When you have our channel where we spend so much time pointing out the ponies BS narratives and the pony lies and the pony situations that are happening that they're blind to, and they're trying to make it as if this is an Xbox thing, and then slowly but surely you see their very foundation crumbling right underneath them. You know what I'm saying? Every game that they thought was theirs is slowly just pulling away, and companies that they thought were so happy to work with Sony are slowly just like, no, we're happy going everywhere. You're not enough. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not enough. Like, that should just be the tagline. It's like ponies, you're not enough. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like every company,
You're not wrong,
everybody who
sir.
does business with these people are out. They're saying, we're good. We're gonna take our stuff everywhere. You're not enough. It's a beautiful time, man. I love it. I love it. Happy times.
Yeah.
Happy times for
Yeah,
sure.
indeed. So again, let's open up with the breaking news. Of course, you got some gameplay from my 3 hour footage from Black Ops 6 multiplayer. I got to get
Nice.
back to it. I haven't played it in 3 days, and I'm really tapping the vein.
Did you
I've
start
been
the
playing.
campaign?
I did. I'm about.
Okay.
I just hit the 5th mission. Phenomenal, absolutely
I
phenomenal.
told you, bro.
Just so good. I'm playing it on hardened, which is the second highest difficulty, and I'm kind of getting killed a lot. Like you get shot up a lot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play through it on hardened. Probably after that, I'm really going to dedicate my time in, because I seen like Nico, who's in the chat. He just prestige for the 4th freaking time. Like, oh my,
That's wild.
That is bonkers.
Jesus.
So I'm not going to sit here and tell you, Nico, that I'm jelly. I'm a little jelly that I'm only halfway into my second prestige because damn, that game is good. And you know
Nice.
what's even crazier is I got to figure out some time for Halo. The new Halo update is there.
Yes,
It's
we
looking
did last
fresh.
night.
Oh
We did
man,
last
dude.
night. Yes, Doodle and I played the third person firefight. I gotta tell you, third
Dope,
person
dude.
in Halo, fucking peanut butter and jelly, bro. It's
Yeah,
beautiful.
you know what?
Beautiful.
Listen, I'm not gonna front. As much as that is super cool, I was kind of hoping that if it does well, people do play it, people enjoy it. I'd love for them to bring that to the campaign. I really would. I don't know if
Which
they
they
can. And I would like
that
to
would be
kind of
dope.
do that multiplayer. I know some
I
people
think
would be
multiplayer is already kind of lined up. I think
okay. That's
multiplayer.
good.
I think it is coming to multiplayer just a
Okay.
little later on. They're starting with this, I
With
guess, just to make
firefight.
sure there's no crazy backlash or like people are like
Yeah.
not
People are
not
gonna get in their feels
revolting.
because they're not, traditional Halo, and how dare you muck, you put your peanut butter in my chocolate. I don't like it. How dare you?
Yeah, exactly,
But needless
exactly.
to say, look, folks, for the next 60 plus minutes, C and I are gonna get down. We got two monster topics to get into, and let's get into the Death Stranding. Now, of course, anytime there is positive Xbox news regarding Sony or their first party or anything that has to do with Sony, there are narratives, there are wall narratives thrown up by the masses. And I haven't seen this from the gaming media. I've actually seen the gaming media do quite a few positive stories, including Jez Corden of Windows Central. Now, interestingly enough, right, we've talked about Sony's financials. We understand that they've made some pretty bad investments over the last 18 to 24 months, and we don't have to reiterate what they are. Just for context, obviously the Concord thing jumps right off the page. That's $400 million. You talk about what's going on with Bungie. It's not really good. The final shape, as great as it was reviewed, it just didn't sell well. And that hurts Bungie, that hurts Sony, because they purchased them for $3.6 billion. Marathon seems to be a bit of a mess. And there's been quite a few other investments, like, I don't know, PlayStation VR 2.0. Right? That's a
Mhm.
flop. But that's also millions and millions of dollars that are invested by Sony for this new device that nobody wanted. It was out of the price range of a lot of people, including myself. Right? You turn around and you look at the Portal. The Portal, as a device, just looking at it from just being fair and square, it's pretty impressive. That screen is dope. I'm not going to front. It's a big screen. I don't really care for how light it is, but the thing is underutilized with what it can do. And from what I understand, and I'm not a tech guy, talking to someone like Kay Asante, he said that this thing could have done so much more. And Sony
All they had
chose
to
to
do was
make it.
enable Android, bro.
Yeah, and
That's all they had to do was enable it, but they know what that means. And this is PlayStation's. This is the difference between Xbox and PlayStation, right? Xbox is secure in themselves.
yes, that
Okay?
is correct.
They're
Mhm.
secure in themselves. They're not crying, they're not concerned. PlayStation is I mean, essentially it's just an insecure child. Okay? They're insecure children. They know that if you put Android on the device, people are going to be streaming Game Pass on the portal.
Yeah,
People are
dude.
going to be streaming
Yep.
GeForce Now on the portal. This is what they know. That is why they shut it down. That's why they only made it as a stupid ass screen that would go ahead and go and just
Just
communicate
stream your
directly with
stuff
a
from your
PlayStation.
box. Yeah.
Exactly. Instead of allowing it just to stream like a normal human because they're afraid of what else is gonna. You can't tell people, hey, you can only stream directly from your PlayStation 5, but you can stream Game Pass and GeForce Now with no console necessary, right? Like the narrative would destroy them, right? So that's their problem. They still are so, and I get it, like they're still so tight on the idea of not letting go of the past,
Yes.
right? Because their dominance in their mind is tied to the past. They don't see a future. They don't see a future. They don't. There's nothing future like facing that they've announced. There's nothing for the future that's protecting them. Nothing. Everything they do is just based off the past. They want to lock things down. They do it as much as they can. But slowly, you're seeing it happen around them, and then you're seeing their internal studios struggling against them.
Yes.
Because again, we know that the Nintendo Switch version of Horizon, Lego Horizon, they celebrated. Gorilla celebrated that
Yes.
they were able to get that game on the Switch. And this is just what's going to happen, man. Right now, there's no real leadership over there. They don't know what to do. And it's going to come down to being forced into these situations. That Portal, if you go back, listen, I make it very, very clear. And the people who think otherwise are ridiculous. I own PlayStations. We've
Yeah.
never hit it. We've never said, "Oh no, we're a PlayStation hating channel." No, no. If they release something good, I'm gonna get it. The
Right.
problem is they haven't been releasing anything good. I got everything that I thought was gonna be good. Spider-Man 2, God of War Ragnarok, got all that shit. It was trash.
Yeah.
Okay. I paid my money and it was trash. That's my disappointment. When the Portal got announced, I said, "Oh shit," before we knew what it was, right? Before we knew what it was actually going to do. When we were all hypothesizing that, okay, you're going to have the Portal, you're going to be able to stream from anywhere, you're going to be able to do this, you're going to be able to do that, this is going to be a dope thing. I'll probably be able to play my PlayStation every once in a while, a lot more frequently than I actually do if I could have it portable. And then it came out, then they announced what it actually was. And it was like, what the fuck is this? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is this? Why does this exist in this way? And that's the reason why we didn't jump on it. That's the reason why we didn't do it. And I mean, honestly, it's true. And yeah, I see you in the chat. I don't care. Listen, let me help people out. I play games not to make you be happy that I play the games. All right.
Right.
Like, that's not how it works. So if I bought Ragnarok with my own money and I did not pass a certain few hours because it's just not good, it's not good for me. I don't care what other people think of the game. It makes no difference to me.
No, I
right?
mean, again, that's the other thing. And funny, shout out, well, not shout out, actually a little bit of a slander. Godkiller9 says, look at these two pocket watches. First of all, brother, who's watching whose pockets? I don't care
I
how you spend
guarantee
your
I
money.
spend more on PlayStation than most
Like,
people
if you
who
look at
come
my
in here to fight
PlayStation
it.
collection, it's I buy pretty much everything.
here.
I didn't, and I personally, just goes to show you that the last 3 devices that Sony has released has not moved the needle for me as a gamer. I'm not rich, but I have never missed a console launch of pretty much anything, going all the way back to like the 70s, bro. Like, I don't understand. Maybe you're new to the channel and you don't understand that I'm an older gentleman, but I've owned everything. And I'm talking about Neo Geo Kart and Neo
These are
Geo
just
CD.
disingenuine people, bro.
No, it's
this
fine.
is just what they do. They come in, they say things to try to make it, to try to discredit who's speaking up here because they want to get in their own feelings about it. Nobody's pocket watching. We spend the money ourselves, right? I mean, Boom spends way more than me on PlayStation. He buys a lot more games than I do over there. I only buy the things that I like. Listen, we both spend money over there. I have multiple PlayStation 5s in this house. I have 6 kids. All right. I'm not gonna, because I don't have an interest in things, doesn't mean
kids
that
don't.
to mean that my kids don't like different things and don't want to do different things. I'm not gonna stop them from doing anything, right? So I don't understand, none of that stuff matters to us. If PlayStation showed up tomorrow changing their methods, they come out with a game pass and they say, you know what, we're putting all our games over there, we're investing in our studios, we're not spending billions of dollars on music and movies, we're actually going to spend billions of dollars on our first party output, and we're going to go ahead and invest more and bring you guys more. And these games that we're bringing out, like Ragnarok and Spider-Man 2, they were mistakes. We apologize. We know that we told these studios to work on old tech for a new mother effing console, right? That's what we did. Instead of saying, hey, we got a new console that we claim is generations and generations ahead, we love everything, oh man, we're so good, but we're gonna make you use the PlayStation 4 engine that you make and just upgrade it slightly. Like, no, man, that's not what I bought a PlayStation 5 for. I bought PlayStation 5 for their supposed next gen games. I really bought it because I love Naughty Dog and I thought we would get a game from them, but apparently that might not even happen because the one game they were going to release got canceled, right? Yeah. So, I mean, this is just what it is, bro.
Well, look, at the end of the day, we're going to cover the news as we see fit, because again, we run our channels the way we run them. If you don't like it, certainly no one is twisting your arm to keep you here. It's fine if you don't
Facts.
appreciate it. Listen, it is. But I want to get right into Death Stranding because I think this is the canary in the coal mine. Now, let's just be clear. Death Stranding's IP, which was owned by Sony Interactive Entertainment, PlayStation, has now been sold back to Kojima. Kojima Productions now controls the Death Stranding IP. Now, I do have a statement here that came out. Okay, so of course, you know what? Let me give credit where credit is due. Now, there is an ex user. It's MAURONL3 on Twitter. And he put out a tweet earlier this morning, which is because I'm giving him credit. Obviously, if I'm going to use his stuff, I have to give the guy credit. He put this out there and he said, according to the Japanese press, a press release, Kojima Productions will hold the IP rights for Death Stranding in the future. So here is the announcement. I'm going to read verbatim. This is the presser from Japan from Kojima Productions. It says, in this announcement, Kojima Productions also reported that the IP of the game will belong to the studio. In the future, he will continue to connect more fans around the world in various forms of entertainment. Hideo Kojima's comments on the release of the Xbox Series X version are as follows. We're finally excited to bring Death Stranding to Xbox users. Thank you to all of the fans who have kept us connected and to all of the Xbox users who have been waiting. Please look forward to Kojima Productions' Death Stranding continuing to connect more games and more game fans around the world. So, okay, I understand that there's going to be some pushback, because people are already running with narratives. Well, boom, it's not PlayStation, it's Kojima. That's all fine and good. But if I recall very correctly, there were a bunch of people running around with Kojima flags when this game was a PlayStation 4 exclusive. And then when they had the director's cut,
Death Stranding 2.
Well,
The same people pumped about Death Stranding 2.
Indeed. And Jez Corden of Windows Central, great friend of mine, great friend of the community, actually put out an article regarding this announcement, but then did an update where he believes that being that now the IP is owned by Kojima and what Kojima said regarding Death Stranding, there is a good chance that Death Stranding 2 could release. Now, I don't know if it's going to be day and date, but it's definitely going to release on Xbox at one point or another. I don't know whether that's a 3-month, 6-month, or 6-year gap. I have no idea what deals they have with Sony. But why is this the canary in the coal mine to what could possibly happen with other PlayStation first-party games? See, Money? Well, I'm going to break it down, and I want to get your thoughts on it.
Course.
I'm a businessman. Now I'm a small business, right? We're here at Double Brow Gaming. It started out as a hobby. It has now become a full-on business where it's, we have to do things. We work with partners, which we're working with Valari Gaming Pillow. We're working with Extreme Custom Consoles out of the UK. And we have a few other things lined up that we're just not willing to talk about, and we can't talk about right now until the ink is dry. Needless to say, it's growing. Double Barrel Gaming is growing, and it's unbelievable. With
Awesome.
that said, from a businessman's perspective, and you are a businessman as well because you have your own business, why does a particular platform sell something back to someone else? It's because that said platform or owner of said platform needs money. Okay? And you can look at this from one or two ways. Either Sony needed the money because of how much investment loss that they have taken in the last 18 to 24 months, or they did not want to pay Kojima for keeping this IP exclusive anymore, and obviously they would have to drop a bag to him in order to keep this on the PlayStation 5 which of course I'm talking about Death Stranding 2. So one way or the other, they are cutting costs. Why are they cutting costs? Why is Hiroki Totoki cutting costs? Because they're bleeding from every orifice. They are bleeding money, folks. That's just what it is. And again, we're going to get into some of the reviews and the thoughts and the opinions of the PlayStation 5 Pro, which aren't great. That most people that have reviewed it said that it is average at best, and if the price of admission does not equal what you're getting. That is the running narrative. I mean, look, I'll say this before we take it to you. When you get a 7 out of 10 from IGN, who is PlayStation number one, that tells you that this thing could have been a 5 or a 6, and they gave it a 7. But let's talk about Death Stranding. Right now, see, it's $20. This is the definitive director's cut that is available. It is enhanced for Xbox.
Still full price on PlayStation right now, by the way.
Yes, thank you. You took the words right out of my mouth. Still full price on PlayStation, half price on Xbox. Wow. Interesting. Talk about nickeling diming. But let's get your thoughts on this. Do you feel that this might be the start of something? Because I think Sony's going to be watching the monies, right? They're going to see how many people from Xbox buy it. Is it only a matter of time before something like, I don't know, Spider-Man 2018 shows up on the Xbox store?
Look, I mean, if you've been following me at all on our channel or anything like that, you know that we've been talking about this for a long time. I mean, it's happening already, right? Like, we know this. Everything is slowly changing over on PlayStation land. You know, the fact that they went ahead and sold the IP back to Kojima. Well, I wouldn't say back to, right? Because Kojima never owned the IP, right? They signed a deal to create the IP under PlayStation. PlayStation was going to own the IP from the beginning. Right. So it's not like Kojima owned it and sold it. Kojima got hired to make a game for PlayStation, which was Death Stranding. Kojima now owns it, right? Which means PlayStation sold it to them. How did that come about? There's really only two versions of this that exist. One, and this is the least likely, they don't see value in Death Stranding anymore, right? Which makes no sense because they're literally funding Death Stranding 2, or at least helping fund, or whatever it is. I don't know what the relationship is going to be right now, but we know that Death Stranding 2 was a PlayStation 5 exclusive. That's what was being made. That was their game. On Xbox, he's making OD, right? That's the deal. That's what's happening. So the slim version of this, the version of this is at least likely, is that PlayStation no longer sees value in Death Stranding. Therefore, they're saying, listen, we don't need it. You go ahead and take it back if you want to buy it. That's one version of this. Again, the one that's least likely. What's most likely is they're looking at the losses that they've taken.
Yep.
Understand, I know you guys want to pretend like this stuff doesn't matter, but it absolutely does. They spent almost $400 million, or over $400 million on Concord. They spent God knows how much on The Last of Us, the multiplayer. God knows how much on the Spider-Man multiplayer. God knows how much on Twisted Metal. There's so much that they've spent money on and gotten zero return from. Zero return, just sunk costs. This is just them spending money, not getting anything back for it. And again, understand this. Companies they never look at one side of the business to help cover the other side of the business, right? Obviously, that's the way it nets out, right? But that's not their desire. They don't ever look at this like, oh, it's okay that we lost this money here because we made this money here. No, that's something that they'll try to cover up with an investor. Like, look at how much overall we made. But internally, that's not how business works. When they spend money on something, they want return back on that investment, right? And I mean, again, unless that's your entire philosophy, right? Your entire game plan as a game maker is we're going to make big games that make a lot of money, small games that don't make a lot of money. And we know that, right? That is basically what Xbox does, right? Xbox has their own plan based off their game network. But somebody like Sony, we know what they want. We know what they do. They've done it the same way, right? They make these big games. Why? Because they want big returns. The problem is they're no longer getting big returns, right? So for them, they look at all this money that they've lost and they have some decisions to make, right? Where can we cut back? Where can we, gain some money back? Well, we already see them doing that with their games, right? God of War Ragnarok showed us that. Spider-Man 2 showed us that. These are not big evolutions. These are not big, oh my God, look at last gen and look at this gen. Look at what they've done. No, these were old gen games that they just moved on over and enhanced a little bit, right? That is all it. That's why it's funny because that's why people talk about like Spider-Man 2 at 60 and like performance ray tracing. Yeah, because they took a base PlayStation 4 game, okay, base PlayStation 4 game, and they used the power to do that other stuff. Why don't you go take a look at Alan Wake and see if that ray tracing is working out for you over on PlayStation? No, because they can't run new games with the PlayStation, with the ray tracing, right? That the same way, right? Or look at the PlayStation 5 Pro, which is supposedly the most powerful, blah, 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 right? Well, Digital Foundry went ahead and said very simply, it runs lower than the lowest of PC, right? So you're already seeing that whole narrative is a waste, right? So they're looking at how they could do it. They cut back on the games. You see Ghost of Yote clearly, even again, Digital Foundry, you can say what you want about me, right? Digital Foundry came out and said, this is clearly the PlayStation 4 game, right? It's just taking the PlayStation 4 game and moving it forward. They're not doing a next gen version. They're not doing something amazing. They're taking their old stuff and just enhancing it. Okay. This is what they do, right? So games, they're already cutting back, but then where else? Because that's not enough, right? They're still paying for those games, right? Just not as much, but they're still paying for those games. So what else do they do? This is where they look at IP that they've invested in, right? And then decide what they can do with it, right? So Death Stranding, clearly Kojima is a very well-known creator.
Mhm.
This is something that he's done a lot of investment in. And for him, you know what happened with him with Metal Gear, right? And Kojima with Konami and how he lost that, right? So I think very simply, Sony looked at their IP with Death Stranding and said, you know what? He will probably buy this, right? He will probably buy this and we can make some money and then we'll still sell the game, still make the 30% or whatever cut we were going to make on the game, like normal or seven. Well, if it's hmm, interesting, Kojima will probably have to get the rest of the money now, right? So
Yes.
they'll get their 30% and be good with
He would
it.
get the
Um,
70. Yeah. Mhm.
yeah, exactly. So it's clearly the only reason they would do this is if they're just trying to make some money back, right? When you look at everything else they're doing, it all lines up together, right? To give you that same outcome. They're trying to cut costs everywhere and anywhere. I mean, again, Hiroki Totoki came out and told everyone that the studios they have, they can make great games. They are crap with business,
They don't know
right?
how to make
They don't
money.
know.
Is it
They
was his
don't know how to
exact
make money.
words. Yes, he said that
Exactly.
specifically about Bungie too. He's like Bungie, amazing artists, they don't know how to make money. It's the
Again,
truth.
agreed 100%. That's literally what he said. So I know, it's funny because like PlayStation people look at people like us reading quotes by their own people and they look like we're talking crap. And it's like, fam, this are your people. Your people said these words, right? We're not making stuff up like you guys make up with Phil, right? You guys be put whole slate. Nobody ever said that over on Xbox, right? Nobody ever said. They said we'll be bringing more. They said as long as it doesn't damage the brand. These are all things that were put in place when talking about games going elsewhere, right? On PlayStation, the Sony CEO said all of their games will be ubiquitous everywhere. Wherever there is compute, their games will be. That is their goal. Hiroki Totoki came out and said the same thing. We're putting our games everywhere, right? It's all going to come. They have said full slate. They did. not us. It's not our desire. We don't port beg over here. We don't care if these games come or
We
not
don't have to
because guess
port beg,
what?
brother, because we have the console. See, this is
Exactly.
what I frustrates me.
Exactly.
This is what frustrates me, see, is that we talk about PlayStation when there's something to talk about. Today is PlayStation based because it's all PlayStation news. And you know what? A lot of it isn't good. Sorry, it's just not. But when you get the commentary about port begging, I probably have more trophies and more PlayStation games and collector's editions than most of the people who don't even have an Xbox. I at least support it. I'll say this, and I said this in my tweet. Go go out and buy Death Stranding one for 20 bucks. It's the listen, in 2024, 20 bucks don't even get you a McDonald's meal. So go spend the 20 bucks on this and let Kojima know that we want Death Stranding too. Because I'm gonna be honest with you. Listen, if I'm being honest and I want to be a petty MF, if I'm Sarah Bond or I'm Phil Spencer, they're working with Kojima right freaking now. You know what you do for Death Stranding 2? You tell them, listen, here's a bag of money. Put it in Game Pass, day and date. Bang. Like, we don't know what the exclusivity is. Now, I would imagine Sony's going to have some exclusivity.
Yeah, I would.
Right?
Yeah,
I
for
mean,
sure.
it makes sense, but I would say this: whenever that game is going to launch on Xbox, it should be in Game Pass, and and Microsoft should make it their business to give Kojima a bag of money to do that. That's what I would do.
Yeah, I mean, I I I would think that if there was a possibility, they would absolutely do that. It's that's really the only thing that would be holding it back is whatever Sony can do. Now, to be clear, I did buy Death Stranding on PlayStation when it came out.
Me too. Actually,
I
my brother gifted it to me.
famously
Yeah, my
I
brother
have
gifted it to
tried to
me.
play that damn game is a game that I wish I could love. Like I wish I could like it. I literally tried and I would play it for a while. I'm like, okay, let's go. And I keep getting to the same spot. I get to the same spot multiple times. I've tried playing the game over and over again. And then I even got it on Epic because they gave it
He
away
gave it away for
on
free. Yeah.
one of their free weeks. So I was like, you know what? Let me try it on PC. Maybe with if I crank everything up and it looks better, it'll get me more engaged, you know, maybe I don't know. I was trying to figure it out. Nothing, man. It's just the game that is not it for me. I cannot do it. I wish I could just fast forward to all like I want to get the bike, right? They did an update right later on after the
Yes.
game release that
Mhm.
they put the motorcycle in there or some crap like that. I never could get to it because I just get bored by then,
I
man.
I had the exact opposite take on it. What wound up happening, if you didn't know, is my brother had gifted it to me. He played through it, he beat it, he enjoyed it. And he's like,
Nice.
bro, you got to play this game. You're a Kojima fan. This is for you. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. He's like, listen, shut up. I bought it for you. Check your Xbox thing. I played it. I mean, my
Your
PlayStation.
PlayStation.
So I played it. So obviously it's a bit of a grind, right? It's slow. But then what blew my mind with this game is how it's a multiplayer game without being a multiplayer game. The thing with the community where I had like there was instances where I had to get to somewhere and I couldn't get there. I turned my PS4 on and there's stock of stuff. There are bridges built. There are ropes that are hanging for me to climb. I'm like, oh,
Yeah, because
I can
like
get up
all the
there,
shit is left over
and
from
I'm
other
like, this
people.
is
The
dope.
idea is dope. The idea is dope, man.
So
The
I
idea is
put
dope.
60 hours in. I did not beat it. I got up to the point where you meet the mechanic and the baby. That is as far as I
Man,
got.
that's a long
Yeah,
time.
it's. I put a lot of time. I put 60 hours
That's a
into it,
lot of
and
time. That's a
you know
lot of time.
something?
Yeah.
I'm not going to front. I really enjoyed the heck out of it. So I'm going to probably play through it now. Am I going to
It's still a
start
game that
playing
I
it?
wish I could like, man. It's still a game. I kind of wish I could enjoy it. I don't know. Maybe I gotta try it again. Maybe I've evolved over time. I
You
don't
know
know.
what? It's 20 bucks, ladies and gentlemen. If you are an Xbox fan that you've never had a PlayStation or you did and you don't anymore, go buy the game. It's $20. I mean, honestly, I think that again, this is a game that is now on Xbox. If you want other PlayStation exclusives to be on your box, buy the game. You don't have to port beg. You can simply, like me, make suggestions that I think that Sony needs money, doesn't want money. They need money. So you are going to get some other PlayStation exclusives, whether they're big or small, and they're going to wind up eventually, finding its way to Xbox or Xbox Game Pass. That is just a fact. Now, is it happening in abundance? I don't know. I can't say. But Sony is in a bit of fiscal trouble, and they need to make money.
I think they have a plan in place that they're gonna see if it bears out before they do
Of
the full
course.
commitment. So the plan in place is to make these smaller games and see. So they've gotten away, right, from one studio makes one big game, right? And now all their studios are essentially broken up into smaller teams, right? We know Naughty Dog is working on more than one game. We know a lot of the studios are working on more than one game at the same time. So they're trying to see if they can scale it back, have less people working on a game, but also get these smaller games out faster. So if they like this Ghost of Yote thing, clearly is not some, massive, big new thing, right? We're going to see what comes from this stuff. But once all that shakes out, if they're still spending more than they're making on these games and they're not netting what they're netting, it's all going to come. It's all going to come. It's just a matter of time. Now, again, to be clear, I don't give it. I don't care if these games come. The purpose that I enjoy them coming, right? The sole purpose I love seeing that another PlayStation exclusive games coming to Xbox is simply and utterly to make fun of these ponies who said it never would. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like that's my desire. Like I don't care. Like sure for the people who don't have a PlayStation, right? And they get to experience some of these games. Sure. I rarely care for the games that come out over there that are exclusive. That's why I'm an Xbox dude, right? Like if I loved all their games and everything they bring out, then it would be different. But it's always been an exclusive box for me, and that exclusive window has narrowed so much for me on PlayStation. Is crazy. So I mean, sure, this is all gonna happen in time. They're the only ones not set up for the future, man. Like
Yeah.
they're just
No.
not. Nintendo has their own thing, right? So their future is in place until they release like this is the thing about Nintendo. Nintendo is in its final form. Okay. The handheld console combo is the last like new thing they could come up with outside of just tech that fits in it, right? Because that you can't go back to just a console that does something weird and there's no handheld associated with it, right? Like you just can't. That's like a new, even I don't think Xbox should release a goddamn console that doesn't have a handheld attached anymore. Like I feel like Switch changed the game. Like we should always have a console and a handheld that goes with it. Um, so like they are set up. So the only problem they have is if they come out with a new one and no one buys it or people are not buying the games, right? That's where they fall into an issue. PlayStation, they're really in a tight spot because they're not offering anything unique, and the exclusives they do have come too far and few between. Like you don't have enough studios producing first party content on a normal basis that's engaging to the audience of today. Unfortunately, we are listen, these TikTok kids, they're swiping, right? They don't even they if you don't engage with them in like 15 seconds, or that might even be too long. You probably
You're
got a
gone.
hot 3 seconds to make them say, "Ooh, what's this?" This is the generation, this is the kids coming up. You can't sit there and tell them that they're gonna play Spider-Man 2, that you think they're gonna play Spider-Man 2 for the year. You know what I'm saying? No. Right?
No.
No, this is not
No.
happening. They're gonna play it for the weekend, they're done, and they're gonna say, "What's next?" And places like, "Oh, we'll see you next year." Like, no, no. Why do I own this console? You know what I'm saying? Why do I own this console? Xbox has such a roadmap for first party content, and it's just nonstop, right? Nonstop. We've been getting bombarded with game after game, expansion after expansion. It's just been nonstop for us. Even though they over there on PlayStation side looks over here and says that we only got Hellblade 2. Come on, fam. Like
Yeah.
let's
No, you
stop.
know what?
Let's stop.
It's just a silly narrative. But you know what? At the end of the day, listen. Again, this is big news. The fact that PlayStation does not own Death Stranding anymore tells you a couple of things. Whether you choose to to read the tea leaves or not, they sold it because and C brings up a great point. Either they think that it's not a valuable or worth owning anymore, or they need money. I think it's more so that they need money less than it's valuable IP because they spent investment dollars into bringing Death Stranding 2. They greenlit that. That's coming out next year. It's going to be Sony's big one of the very few big titles next year. And listen, I just think, not sound like I'm repeating myself, it is the canary in the coal mine, at least in my opinion. You can think what you think, that's perfectly fine. But we do got to get into the PlayStation 5 Pro because this, to me, folks,
we forgot about it like everybody else. You know what I'm saying?
It's a big nothing burger. I mean, dude, it's honestly a big nothing burger. I'm sorry that for $700. I mean, you even heard, there's been multiple reviews. We're gonna get into some of them. We're not gonna read all of them, but we're gonna read, like, for instance, when you saw, did anyone watch Austin Evans' breakdown of it? Phenomenal stuff as always. That guy's aces. And the first thing out of his mouth is, well, two things. One was he shook the box and he's like, yeah, this doesn't feel right. The packaging is Dollar Tree or dollar store-esque. It is gross.
Yep.
It is terrible. For a $700 premium device, the way it's wrapped, Sony should be ashamed of themselves. It's rattling literally in the box. When you unwrap an Xbox Series X, that you're presented with top tier, top shelf premium. When you open up the PlayStation 5 Pro, which is $700, by the way, it rattles in the box. Not confident shipping, in my opinion. But more so than that, Austin Evans goes on to say, this is $700 and it doesn't have a disk drive. Doesn't feel right. He's not wrong. He is not wrong. But before we get into any of that, let me catch up on Super Chats. We have a channel member chat here from Iman Burns, who's been a channel member for a whopping 29 months. He says, would you look at that, Boom? The PlayStation Pro is a joke, and Death Stranding on Xbox. I'll wait for it to come to Game Pass Ultimate. How's it going, boys? Let's effing go. Indeed. And you know what?
Hey, it's already on PC Game Pass.
It is on PC Game Pass. It is. But you know what's interesting? I find it poetic. I find it hilarious that the fact that the day that the PlayStation 5 Pro comes out, which again, it wasn't really going to get a whole lot of coverage because it's too expensive. But the same day that comes out, they released Death Stranding on Xbox Series X and S, like almost completely. Yep. It was like Xbox and Kojima pulled a Sony. Like whenever Xbox,
think about that for a second. Think about that. Xbox, first of all, we know Xbox is cutthroat. Yeah, the people who still think that they're kumbaya, throw that out the window. Understand, putting their game somewhere else is not kumbaya. That's big business, right? They're thinking about taking that money, which is what
big
they're
bank
doing,
take
right?
Little bank, brother. Yeah, that's what that is.
That's what they're doing. So understand that. You fools out there talking shit about it. No, that's just big business. They're doing what they got to do, and they're doing it smart, and they're feeding us. Now, the real killer is Kojima. Okay, that's supposed to be their boy. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's supposed to be their homie, right? Now, listen, I don't know if he announced that Death Stranding is going to have PlayStation Pro enhancements today at all.
I didn't see anything like that.
No one even knows about it because all he did was control the entire narrative of today. By saying that his game is coming to Xbox. That was a massive drop, and I feel like, I don't know, maybe it's me, but I feel like Kojima is looking at Sony like Konami. You know what I'm saying? He's like, these guys, they promised me all this stuff. Nobody even bought this damn game on the PlayStation. Like, it was just a waste, right? And now we got this other deal where who knows? For all we know, he was contracted to make 2 games. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't know how that happened, you know, with them. But the fact that he went and took he rained on their parade, right? Like, he took their spotlight on a day that they're supposed to have, you know, their new console drop. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the today we should only be hearing about the Pro and people talking about the Pro, people loving up on the Pro, developers all talking about the Pro. Some people are, right? But it's such little like like excitement for it, right? Nobody cares, right,
Yeah.
that this is happening because the vast majority of people are not buying that console. Okay. I'm not saying that the people who bought it are wrong.
I don't
I
care if you bought it.
completely changed. I
Yeah.
changed my whole tune on it, to be honest with you, Boom. I on our show, we said it after the announcement and after Digital Foundry went ahead and did their analysis on it, and they interviewed a bunch of the developers who came, who were doing, pro upgrades. And you watch that video and you see how each one of them essentially craps entirely on the capabilities of the PlayStation 5. Like they just crap on it. Like basically, like, yeah, now we can finally do this. We can finally do this. And it's like, I get it. If you're stuck on the PlayStation 5, if that's your console, if that's like my Xbox to me is their PlayStation 5 to them, that's their main console. Of course. Of course, upgrade. Your PlayStation 5 is doo-doo. Okay? It is. It's always been. It's been holding back everything. We know based off of the fact that the Xbox Series S is more technologically capable, not power-wise, but the technology in the box. It's full RDNA 2, unlike the PlayStation 5, right? It has more capability, but it's just at 1080p, right? It has more 120 FPS games on it, right? We know that PlayStation 5, we knew from the beginning that it was a waste of an upgrade, right? It just, and we've seen that bear out on their games, right? Nothing has come out that makes you say, "Oh my god, wow, this is next gen" from them, right? This is just a reality. So I
Yeah.
get it. Yes, upgrade. Upgrade. Now you go ahead, get a better console than what you were stuck with. That's fine. I'm not gonna shit on
Yeah, that
somebody who
that's that
decides
that
to get it.
$700 price point though, man. Ouch.
Well, I mean, I get it. It's if what I'm saying is that if you look at that 700 and you're like, I can afford that,
Yeah, spend the money.
then do
Yes,
it, bro.
absolutely. Go
Do it.
for
I
it.
can see why
Absolutely.
you would do it because your shit is jacked. I get it.
Yeah. Well,
PlayStation 5
listen,
ain't it. I
we
understand.
I want to get into some of the the media quotes because I think that's really
Yeah,
going
do
to
it up.
kind of put a pin in it for exactly what people are thinking and talking about it. But before we get there, Space Shot drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, "Let's go, Boom. Seems like everyone is picking up on how more games in more places means more revenue. It's common sense. Thanks for all the work, brother. Well, thank you so much for the generosity and thank you so much
Space
for the
Shot
very
was
kind
good, man.
words. Bounty says, Wagwan Boom and see money. I think
Up
part
player.
two is going to come to Xbox also not until 6 months and it didn't PlayStation pay for exclusivity. Must await more wasted money. Listen, they invested in it, so I would imagine there is some sort of atypical Sony exclusivity. How much of it, I don't know. Is it 6 months or 6 years? I'm assuming that he can't talk about it simply because he's contracted and it's going to be on PlayStation as an exclusive. We'll see. Maybe that will come out in some sort of a conversation one way or another. Sith Lord drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, Death Stranding for $20. What a win for Xbox fans. Indeed, I bought my copy this morning. Creative Monster drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, Xbox has now cornered the market on walking, driving, and flying simulators. Love the show, Boom. Keep it up. Indeed. And Balatone, generous friend of the program, who's been a channel member for 16 months. He goes on to say it's also
Nice.
a play anywhere game. Buy it on the Windows, I guess, buy it on the Windows Store and or the Xbox Store, and you can play it on your console or your PC. That's freaking great. I love dual entitlement personally. I think that's a big deal. But listen,
How does it work if you have Game Pass?
well, unless it's
If you have PC Game Pass, you have the game. If you have Game Pass Ultimate, I have Game Pass on PC and
I
Game Pass
don't
on Xbox. I wonder
know.
if we could wonder
If
if you could
that's
just download it on Xbox. That'd be
maybe
wild.
it's an interesting thought. I know that it was available originally on Xbox PC Game Pass and not on regular Xbox Game Pass. I don't know. That's an interesting thought. But see, Let's read some of these quotes here. Now,
Absolutely.
obviously, the talk of the town right now is Death Stranding, but we're going to kind of bring into the conversation some of the stuff that the media is saying about the PlayStation 5 Pro. GameSpot, very, very heavy in PlayStation, right? They're invested, right? I wouldn't even be surprised, and I'm pretty sure of it, that they get a lot of ad revenue from PlayStation. They say this in their title for their review: PlayStation 5 Pro review, powerful on paper, ordinary in action. Yikes. Not a great quote. We also have here, let's see, the PlayStation 5 Pro review from IGN. They go on to say, if you have to really desire that visual upgrade, knowing that it doesn't transform the gameplay experience at a fundamental level, and to be fair, Sony never said it would, so it stands. The PS5 Pro isn't essential, but it's clearly nice to have. They gave it a 7, right? Okay. I mean, I guess so. So here is some more information about specifically. Let me just get back to you because I have everything queued. See money. So this is there's a site called The Shortcut, and I'm assuming it's called The Shortcut because basically it kind of takes all the information from around the web and puts it into a little paragraph that kind of gives you the quote unquote skinny of what is happening. So they go on to say this: the reviews for Sony's PlayStation 5 Pro are in, and they're fairly unenthusiastic. The overall theme, with most reviewers, is that the console delivers but does not do enough to warrant its price tag. Some reviewers said that the differences are very hard to see unless you sit very close to your TV. That's just dumb. And lastly, for most people, the standard PlayStation 5 will be more than enough. See, look, this basically, the PlayStation 5 Pro launched like a wet fart. Sorry, that's exactly what it did. It's
It launched like a wet
$700.
fart, got announced like a wet fart, it got shown off like a wet fart. The entire situation all lines up the same,
I mean,
right? It's
listen,
just unenthusiasm from the beginning.
yep. So let's get your thoughts on the reviews. I'm not surprised because, again, if you go back to what Digital Foundry had to say, they were literally laughing in their video on how this it does some things, but it doesn't do the one thing great. It does a bunch of things. And again, I'm not going to pocket watch it. If you want to spend your 700 and you're a digital only gamer, go spend your money. Excellent. If you are a disc owner like I am, and you'd like to stand the console vertically, that's going to cost you $830 before tax. So good luck with
And
that.
that's only here. Remember, in other countries, it's more like 9 to 1,000 and plus.
Yeah, some places
Like that. Why do you think nobody's
$1,200.
buying this damn thing?
Yeah.
Exactly. It's crazy. No, I mean, listen, the reviews, I'm more shocked that the reviews came in genuinely. Like I thought that there would have been maybe some more glazing going on, but it seems like pretty much everybody is essentially just kind of calling it like it is, right? We've been saying it from the beginning, I mean, shit, PlayStation has been saying it. They showed you when they talked about their brand new console, all they showed you were PlayStation 4 games running on the system, right? Games that originated as PlayStation 4 games, right? Last of Us, all these things, right? This is all old games that they focused their energy on. And then, like, dude, they haven't shown anything. They never came out and showed like, oh, look at what Black Myth Wukong is going to look. It just came out on PlayStation as a quote unquote exclusive, and it runs like crap over there, or at least doesn't run really well. And look at how this is going to save that. Nothing. They didn't bring up Elden Ring, right, which was one of the biggest games that didn't run really good on the system. Why? Well, what have we found out since then? It still doesn't run really well, right? So it's not a game changer. It's not something that if you buy this, your life is changing as a PlayStation player, right? It's just not, right? That doesn't mean that if you go ahead and purchase this thing as a PlayStation fan, like this is your console of choice, PlayStation is your console of choice, that you're not gonna have any benefit from it. I mean, realistically speaking, it does look a little tiny bit better, right? So if you want the absolute best looking version of this crap, then yeah, it's gonna make sense to you, right? But outside of that, for the vast majority of the people, and this is the same crap that they try to talk about with Xbox, right? Where, oh, you don't have that many consoles out there, so the market is not going to cater to your box, right? The market's going to cater to the other boxes. Well, guess what? If a lot of people don't buy the Pro, what you're going to end up having is minimal acceptance of it, right? Minimal usage of it. These developers are not going to go ahead and go crazy. Listen, we spent, I don't even know how long, but that day that Alan Wake 2 Remedy put out that blog post about the performance of the ray tracing and stuff on the PlayStation 5. They did this crazy long blog post, right? And we went ahead and we read through the whole thing. We broke it down on our channel, right? Live. And what I took away from it, what we took away from it was that very simply, this was their before Digital Foundry said this was the lowest of the low, right? We can like lower than the low of PC. We saw it on the channel. We were looking at like this looks garbage, right? Like this is like really bad, right? Really bad ray tracing. Like this is almost like it's more distracting than it does benefit, right? Because you can see how crappy it looks. So it's like I'd rather have the idea that the mirror is just dirty. Like I can see no reflection because it's dirty, right? Like it just didn't look good. And we read through that whole thing, and you could see that it's them trying to explain how much work they put in to just getting this bitch to look like this. You know what I'm saying? Like they were trying to make us all understand, like, listen, guys, we tried so hard. We did everything we could. Okay, we did it, and this is just what it is, right? Like that's all I got from reading that. And then you see it come out, right? You see it come out, and what? The guy from Digital Foundry says it's lower than the lowest spec on a PC, right? That is horrible, right? That's horrible, right? So these companies are not going to put all the energy that Remedy put into that crap for a market that is super small. They're just not. They're just not. They're going to go ahead and they're going to do just as much as humanly possible, right? And that's just what it is. Okay. No matter how you cut it, they're just not going to do the investment, man. And that's the problem. If people are not buying it, you're not going to get the investment. If you're outside of US, if your console is $1,000, $1,200, it's in certain places. Come on, man. What type of adoption you think you're going to have? You're going to have nothing. Everybody's going to keep buying a PlayStation 5. That's what they're going to do.
I mean, listen, it's some of the comparison videos, the PlayStation 5 versions actually look better. And that's not me being, facetious in any way. Some of them actually look better. And that's a problem if you're going to spend $700+ on the mid-gen refresh. And you know what? I'm actually glad that Xbox decided not to do that. Yes, they have a console that you can buy that has 2 terabytes. And again, I bought it. I'm not going to front. I did buy it, but I also didn't pay full boat because I traded in my launch Series X, the standard matte black one, and I got $400 for it. And I then added $200 to it, and I got the newer console because I needed the space. I ran out of space with my 2 terabyte card, and the terabyte it's not even a full terabyte. It's like 893 gigs. So you're losing a gig and some change. And I buy a lot of games, so I needed the extra space, and I bought it, but I didn't pay full boat for it. I'm glad Xbox decided to say, "Hey, listen, we're gonna just put these out. People are gonna buy them. They're gonna be what it's gonna be." And then in 2026, I really believe that's when their console's coming out. And I do believe that the handheld's going to be releasing next year. I think that's still going to be potentially unveiled at the Game Awards. That'd be a great moment for Sarah Bond to get out there and say, hey, listen, this is our handheld. It's coming out next holiday. And what do? They end the year, and everybody's talking about Xbox. as that's what I think that they should do. But look, at the end of the day, if you find value in what Sony released, please go buy it. Go spend your $700 to $800 to $900, and you know what? Enjoy it. No one's gonna pocket watch you. No one's gonna ridicule you for buying it. Spend your money. I just don't think it's worth it, and I think that a lot of the reviewers that actually reviewed it and put out honest and earnest reviews and thoughts are all saying the same thing. And again, if you value Digital Foundry as being the end all be all of tech sites, they said what they said. And I just,
well, they did at the end try to because this is the thing, you can't stop Digital Foundry from being a pony, right?
No,
like the ponies are gonna pony.
They are who we thought
So
that they were, you know.
So they went ahead and they showed you why none of it mattered, right? Like everything they showed you was like, this is negligible, this is not really a big deal. But then at the end, they go ahead and they think you should buy it, right? Which honestly doesn't make any sense. But you see the way like that Ollie dude, what Ollie Mac or whatever, like that dude, yo, every time he get a chance to talk, like you could just see anytime, like he's super pony glazer, right? Like he just glazes that damn console every chance he gets, and he gets so excited to talk about it. And it's like, bro, show us what you're excited about, because what we're seeing is not exciting, right? Like it's not, right? So like you gotta match up with what you're saying. So at the end of the day, if you're talking about should you go buy this shit, no. If you question it for a second, then it's not for you, right? It's 100% not for you if you have one even ounce of questioning whether you should get it. The only people who should get it are the people who just don't give a crap and just want the new shiny box, and it is technically better, right? So sure, let's have it.
25 to
Or if you're
30% better than the
yeah, which they lied because they said 45% on the thing, and everything that they showed, it was only 25 to 33% better or so. So yeah, so outside of you just having the money and not giving a crap, outside of this being your main, listen, if you're a PlayStation main, this is what you have and you can afford it, and you're saying to yourself, oh yeah, this is a no-brainer, then get it. If you're a PlayStation main, you're like, do I need this? I don't know. Then don't get it immediately. Like nothing is needed with this this console is absolutely not a need. It's unlike like when the Xbox One X came out. If you were somebody who loved Xbox but was tired of getting these 900p versions, and you got yourself a 4K TV for the first time, and it's like, wow, massive. It was like a must have. You had to get the One X to really enjoy what was new about gaming. This is not the case. Not in any way, shape, or form. There is nothing about this console that you should feel bad if you don't get it. There's no FOMO here. There's no missing out. If you can't afford to buy another console after you bought the PlayStation 5 already, there's no FOMO. There's no like, oh man, look at what I'm missing out on. No. They try to make it seem like PlayStation and Xbox have 60 FPS games. They're cracked out, bro. 60 FPS is here. It's been here. It's just performance mode. So you get a crappier looking version, but it's at 60 FPS. That has been here. The difference between the pro version of that and the regular version of that is not $700 worthy. It's not. It's just what it is. If they would have came out and said, hey, listen, we have a PlayStation 5 Pro, is going to be $500, and the PlayStation 5 is now $300, that sounds like a plan. Right? That's dope. All right. They came out with a new console. It's taking the place of the old one, right? Taking the price point of the old one. So for the 500, you're getting the new stuff. And then for the old one, if you still want to get that, it's 300. Great. But that's not what they did. They came out asking higher prices than ever before on a console, and they're delivering the least amount of an upgrade ever in a console. You know what I'm saying? Like it's crazy. Like the Series X doubled the Xbox One X, and it was essentially what, like 6 times more powerful, or more than 6 times more powerful than the original box. This is not that, right? This is not that. This is not even double the power. It's 67% more, and it's not being used. You're not getting 67% more of dedicated usage. You're getting 67% more to put towards a PlayStation 5 game. How they use it, it's up to them. But at the end of the day, it's just not there. And it doesn't even have the benefits of what the Xbox One X had, where old games got greatly
Like
enhanced
boosted.
just because. Yeah, like basically, if the developer doesn't put something in the game that says, hey, this is a PlayStation 5 Pro, like a PlayStation 5 Pro is accessing this game, it's barely using it. Like it's almost like acting like, look at Elden Ring, right? It's just like nothing. Like it doesn't even care that it's there. It's barely doing anything, right? You're definitely not getting 67% more power worth of frames in Elden Ring. Hell, you're not getting the 45% more power worth in frames in Elden Ring, right? So it just kind of is what it is, man. Look, nobody's pocket watching though. Let's stop that narrative. Nobody cares.
Listen, I don't care how people spend their money. Listen, if you have it, good for you. If you don't, then obviously sell some stuff to get it. However you're going to do it, just don't rob anybody to get the money. Don't rob Peter to pay Paul. Look, at the end of the day, why I find it to be even more unimpressive is because there's no launch day game that says that we made this game for this. And this shows off everything that it can do. It's a bunch of updates. As a matter of fact, one of the biggest disappointments, I think, for anyone, most of us understand that when you're going to see a new piece of hardware, a racing game usually is what you show off to, let everybody know about the bells and whistles. Well, Gran Turismo 7 is supposed to get that update. Why wasn't that fast-tracked to get it done for the launch of the console?
Hold on. That shit is not out with the console right now?
It's not coming out until December. It's about a month after is when it's going to be released.
What?
That's what people are saying, that it's not available as of yet. Other games are, but the Gran Turismo
this is what I'm telling you, bro.
Is just not.
That
to me is a miss.
That Alan Wake stuff is not a lie, bro. It takes a lot of effort to get these things to produce something that's good on the Pro. It's crazy. Pisser Tech is the truth, bro. That's why we live on that name that they put out there, bro. It's the truth.
Yeah.
It is the pisser, man. They're taking the piss out of everybody for going ahead and doing this. I cannot believe that first party game that that Digital Foundry was glazing because of all the reflections is not ready. Like, bro, how do you not have your first party studios making this shit mad long ago?
It should have been for launch. But look, at the end of the day, we're not going to drag this on any further. You've heard our opinions. We've been very fair, and I think that our opinions line up with what other people in the industry are saying. Maybe you don't like what you heard. I can't fight you on it. And again, I'm not going to pocket watch it. If you want to buy the console, please, by all means, take your $700+ out of your bank account and give it to Sony. You're just not going to get massive gains unless you're sitting close to the TV. When you see that being almost the regular narrative and conversation, that you won't notice it unless you're sitting close to your TV, that's all you need to know on whether or not you have to spend $700 plus to get this. But let me just catch up on the last super chat we got here. Shout out to Lady Foxfire in the chat. There is some Gears of War E-Day news that she DM'd me with. We'll cover it tomorrow on Breakfast with Boom. Again, it's not earth-shattering. We kind of knew it already, but it's still fun and interesting because obviously E-Day is going to be a big deal. So shout out to you, Lady Foxfire, for the DM. Super appreciate that. We have 2 super chats coming in. One from Will Broke Boy Lewis, generous friend of the channel. He goes on to say this after dropping a very generous $5 super chat. I just found it funny that the primary argument for the PS fanboys to those who don't want to buy a PS5 Pro is, well, you're just broke. Well, if you're broke, just say so. Wow, I mean, is that? I didn't even see that.
BS narrative, bro.
Bro. What a crummy narrative.
No,
like, first 100%.
Of all, well, broke boy knows that.
Yeah, that's if you what kind of a human are you to make fun of somebody who may not or may be able to afford that?
These are the same dudes trading in their PlayStation 5s to get it.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
these are the same dudes who are telling you, well, just go trade in your PlayStation 5. Well,
Yeah.
what happened? I thought you rolling.
It's
Why you got
rolling
to
in
trade in
bucks.
your PlayStation
Yeah.
5 to
Why don't
get
you
it?
just
Why don't you
go
just
buy?
sit your PlayStation 5 there and then put your Pro next to it? You know what I'm saying? Like, just why don't you do
And
that?
I'll say this
Fuck outta here.
publicly: if you are running that narrative, there are a couple of things here. One, grow the f up. Put on the big man pants and stop playing in the schoolyard. Because if that's the narrative you're running, look in the mirror. Be ashamed of what you see. I will say that. Be ashamed of yourself if you are saying that to another person about you can't afford it. Are you 5 or 35 or maybe even 55? I don't know. But if that's the narrative you're running, you got bigger problems than I can help you with. Go sit
It's a
down on a
smoke screen,
couch.
boom.
Yeah,
It's
it's
a
not.
smoke screen, bro. They do that so that this is the conversation that's had instead of the fact that no, sir, if we wanted to buy the PlayStation 5 Pro, we would buy the
Yeah, I can
PlayStation
I can
5
buy it
Pro.
right now. I also can get a $3,000
Yeah,
rig right now if I wanted to, but I do not choose to do that because I don't like PC
agreed.
gaming. So,
And I have a 4090 cent right here looking at me, right? So
and there you
if we
go.
wanted to, it would be done. The
Yeah.
problem is they didn't sell us. We're not like we don't just show up and say, "Oh, sure, Sony, whatever you got." Yeah. No. No, sell me. Sell me. Tell me why I need it. Show me some amazing looking crap that I have to say, "Wow, that's dope." I just for that I'll go get one cuz I want to be able to experience that type of stuff. You don't got it. You
Yeah.
haven't shown it. And when you thought you were going to show something, literally right before pre-orders went live, when you showed the Ghost of Yote, that was an epic
Oh,
fail.
okay.
Most generic looking thing I ever seen in my life. Come on, man.
Makai28, who drops a very generous $5 super chat, says this: if you have Game Pass Ultimate, you can download Death Stranding Director's Cut for free on the Xbox app through your phone. Downloading it now.
No, I think he's confused with the feature that says that you can just download any game from your phone can be downloaded. And then
Oh,
when you go to actually play it, so Xbox lets you download whatever you want. But when you go to click the button to buy it, like when you click to play it, if you don't own it, it's going to ask you to buy it.
okay. Well, either way, thank you so much for the information. Again, one way or another, if it's not available through Xbox Game Pass, which I don't think it is, spend the $20. Obviously, it's only $20. But let's get everyone out of here. Of course, C Money, thank you so much for joining us. Great conversation as always. But we need to sell the brand of On Point for Gamers. It's a show that you and the wife do each and every week, 4 and 5 times a week. You obviously have a great panel, not only starring Hargeet Chani, which is on everybody's podcast, but you work with a bunch of others. And of course, we want to give them shout outs as well. Again, love the work that you do. I'm sure that you guys are going to be going at some of the news that popped in today. Can't wait to check it out myself. But sell the brand of On Point for Gamers. Where could people subscribe? Help you continue to grow the channel, but more importantly, follow you and the missus on social media.
Well, first of all, again, bro, thank you again for having me, man. Love being on the show. Thursdays, Xlog Live, 12 p.m. You find me here. Always a fun time. So thank you so much. And then, listen, on Twitter, I'm right. See Money Forever. My wife Doodle, who does the show together with me, is at Doodle to be free. And yeah, man, listen, we're not like Twitter people. Like we don't kind of spend all of our energy on there. We do have fun, right? We do have fun where when the ponies have some fun thing going on, we'll talk about it. Or if anything dope on Xbox is happening, we'll talk about it there too. But you can check us out there. But our show is On Point for Gamers on YouTube. I put the link in the description, in the description, the link in the chat. Yeah, we do 4 shows a week. It's 100% an Xbox focused channel. We definitely have a good time on there with the ponies. And again, this is not it's like you could like PlayStation and not be a pony, right? The ponies are the ones who talk the crap about Xbox, who constantly have like these double standards, right? Where they say something is bad if Xbox doing it, but now that PlayStation is doing it, it's not bad anymore. So like those are the type of people that we have a fun time kicking the shit out of, to be honest. But yeah, so we do 4 shows a week. We have Morning Quest on Sunday mornings. That's at 10 a.m. Eastern time. That's myself and Doodle, and it's a very chat focused show. We definitely have a good time with our people in the chat, a lot of whom I see here. So it's definitely a good time. So definitely come check us out there. On Tuesday nights, we have Night Quest with Doodle and Money, which is kind of like Morning Quest, except that we have typically have a guest on Tuesday nights. Is at 8 p.m. Eastern time. And then on Thursday night, so tonight, we will be live 8 p.m. Eastern time with the On Point Gaming podcast. More, like news focused show. We're talking about whatever is going on. Obviously, this was part of the news. We will be diving deep on this. We will be having fun with this in a pretty big way. So definitely check us out tonight, 8 p.m. for that. And then Friday nights are our wild night. It's 8 p.m. Eastern. It's the night shift. Let's Talk Gaming. That's where myself, the homie Hargeet Shani, and our boy Demo Flow Gaming, we all get together. Myself, obviously, and Doodle. And we just have a good time, man. Just have a fun time. Everybody's done with the week. Let loose. It's fun. It's fun. We have a good time. So definitely check us out with that, man. But yeah, so guys, thank you again, man. We appreciate you. We had a pretty nice little like a little mini blow up right now. A lot of people, we had our show on Friday.
Nice.
And that show, a lot of people kind of liked it. It was good. So it's dope. So definitely come check us out, man. We have a good time. It's all in fun, right? Like we all have it's just a fun time.
Nothing's
man.
personal. It's just fun. It's just we're making fun.
Exactly. All we ask is, listen, we have no problem if you like PlayStation, come by, check us out. Just don't be a pony, right? Don't come in here talking nonsense. You will get sniped, right? You will get deleted. You'll get removed. We don't play it. But other than that, man, yeah, man, come check us out. Appreciate you. And the homie, Boom. Thank you, man.
Yeah, well, thank you, brother. Super appreciate you being here on Thursdays. And obviously, a big thank you to all of the super chats that came in. They definitely power the show in one way or another. And the big way that's going to be happening let's see, today's the 7th. In about 2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks, we're giving away 15 copies of Stalker 2. Ooh. And all you got to do to win is be in the chat when we do that. I believe I'm going to save that giveaway for the week of the 20th and whatever that Breakfast with Boom date is. I'll look at the calendar and I'll start doing the advertising next week. The first 8 winners go to anyone who's a channel member. The next 7 winners are anybody who's going to be in the chat. It gets randomly picked by the picker for StreamYards. And you know what I'll do is in the beginning of the show, I'll drop a hashtag. You put the hashtag in and boom, you're entered. That's it. 15 copies, courtesy of Mr. and Mrs. BoomStick. We didn't get any of those copies from Xbox. We didn't get any copies from the developer. We're literally buying those copies with our own money. And you know why we're doing it? Well, because we love this community, but more importantly, we're quote unquote giving back to the developer who's had a real tough go at it. If you know their story, you understand why Mrs. Boom and I are not only sympathetic to some of the hardships that they've dealt with, but we want to celebrate the studio. We want to celebrate the game. And we are giving away, again, it's just our way of giving back to the community, 15 copies of Stalker 2 when it releases on the 20th. And, of course, that's going to be in Game Pass. But if you win, well, the copy's all yours. One real quick, we had Nino Vestic, our generous friend all the way from Hawaii. Aloha, kind sir. He drops gifts a 1 double barrel gaming membership, as he has done many times before. Brother, thank you so much for the generosity, as always. And of course, folks, I'm going to close out the show with something that's incredibly important to me. Hopefully one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids. And he would say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, son. I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. And we'll see you next week on the newest episode of X Vlog Live.